Peace in Islam. Paki Amor. Peace and love. And it's going to be a quick one, I think. But some of this got to be said, in my opinion. Let's start with Noble Drew Ali. That's going to be about our Moorish flag, how it pertains to us. And at the end, I'm going to go into if we were called Moors on this land. So let's continue. What kind of flag is the Moorish? Being ambiguous. It is a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. What do the flag points represent? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. How old is our flag? It is 10,000 years old. And that's the flag of Morocco, quote unquote. We have the Yamasee against the English in Carolina. And as we can see, the red flag. We have a picture of an allegory of the Americas at the top, also with the red flag. And we have another allegory down at the bottom right, also with the red flag. Or maybe that's a red cape. We have a French poster raising the Moorish flag. We have an Indian war dance depiction showing that they even make their own flag. But as we can see, it's a red flag. And I like this picture right here, an allegory that shows the perpetual war of from the Punic Wars to the Crusades through to the Conquistas. We have the Moorish flag with the Mauryan Empire that we call India today. That's an example of consanguinity in fatherlands. This I found online. Somebody put together showing the flag and showing the the scene that happened at Fort Negro in 1816. And in that scene, it is said that they was flying, the Moors in that fort was flying a red flag with the British Jack. But there was a lot of controversy concerning this because folks don't understand how the empire was at this time. So we're going to touch on that right here. As we can see, East and West Florida, we have the all red flag with the British Jack as the canton, right? So At this time, Negro foot would have been flying this exact flag as the description said that it did with the English Jack. We can see East and West Florida at this time was its own countries outside the United States. That's why Andrew Jackson. You can go read the story, what happened at Negro Fort. That's why they took it. So basically, this was a stronghold, a Moorish American stronghold at that time that was took down by the United States. We're going to get into more about Florida in a second. As its own country, we're dealing with jurisdictions when we deal with flags. We're dealing with international law. We're dealing with commerce and a whole host of things that people don't get into. What we get into today. That's the flag of the Seminole and the flag of the Muskogee on the left side. These flags are flags of the United States of Colombia. If we follow history, we all know that many Moorish Americans left different parts of North America, Mexico during the Civil War periods. And in my research, which is continuous, it shows a lot of them set up their own states and what we call today Colombia. And these flags came out of it. We got the flag of La Vega in Cundinamarca. You see? This what Noble Drawley brought us. We forgot this, but these Moors knew. They knew exactly what they've been doing with dealing with nationality. They create their own independent nations, which all over time disappeared, but this is just an example of what Noble Drawley brought us. The flag of Utica. Remember, Utica was one of those places like Tunis. It's an ancient Moorish dominion of North Africa. Utica, I remember that. Because you know the story of chapter 47. We set up our kingdoms on both sides. But this side of those kingdoms, everybody want to lie and act like they don't exist. That's why you're doing this right now. These are maps of La Florida. Known as La Florida, as a country called La Florida. It's not maps of America or United States. Okay? We gotta understand that everything as we see it today in history. On this map of La Florida, we see changes. We got the French map on this side, 1584, that these kingdoms no longer exist. You can get the stories of these kings. And how I know these kingdoms, because you can see the crown next to it. And there's already cities there. Just so we know that this 1500s, we already got cities here and kingdoms. So that means there's a princes and princesses who got bloodlines connected to these people who've been ruling these kingdoms. In the past, see the crown on each of these. So they had a king and queen. Okay? Let's follow this. Noble Drawley brought us this back in so many words. And as you can see, this is the area where most of us from. The South, right? We got Kadika. This map is much older. This is, I think, 1534. I think this is 1560, and this is 1580. We see how things change. This map interesting because we have Kadika which could be Cadiz. We have Mayakra, which could be Majorca, and these is Moorish kingdoms. We got Morocco, and we got Utica, Utina, Cadica, Mallorca, and Morocco. Morocco still exists. And if you put these names inside Google, you'll find books written in Latin with these names in it, talking about these kings and these princes. That's why I say we're looking at Indian history based off what they tell us Indian history is, because everything, if it's written in English, just know that that's a modern aspect of something. You gotta go get it in the original tongues. That's a scene of Negro Fort. Depiction of the scene of Negro Fort. As you can see, these they had cannons, so that should tell you something, right? Look at it hiding in the cut waiting. Long history. Notice they had turbans with feathers. This is an old, I believe, either Moorish, Arabic, Arabian, or Turkish. But as you can see, we got the red flag. We got the, looks to be the South Carolina flag without the palm, but the crescent. We got a blue flag with the crescent. We got a red flag with the crescent. And that's the Eastern Seaboard. So somebody gotta come explain this flag to me. As we can see, ain't nothing foreign about Double Drawley. While we forget, he was. You see that? What you see as Indian, he's showing you that you, being yourself, is that. You cannot, the pageantry is good, but the blood tells it. And they point the arrow at the satchel. Look at it right there. Look. The satchel, right? The noble. Look at the pearls. And the turban with the feather, the plume. You know? This is said to be Europe, but she looked like my aunt. Look Moorish American to me. Anyway, let's continue. It's supposed to be short. Let's get into these idea that, well, since all we hear growing up that we would call was black or African American, that we think that in history it wasn't called that. Okay, let's go. These are advertisements of tobacco being sold all over the world from America throughout time. I'm going to show you how advertisement changed because times change, names change. We got the smoking more. This remind me of the young Moors in Charleston who, when we were little, we used to sell palmetto roses is what we call it. Is palm tree leaves that we craft into roses. We sell it on the market, even though they want to try to make us have a license, but we've been doing that before we remember who started it, generationally. That's what this remind me of. They home, they selling what they got. You see? The Rookende more. And all this is just Dutch saying the smoking more. Different versions of Dutch. Dushla. The three Rookende Mooren, which is Moors, plural. The three smoking Moors. And you can tell they got the guards. Watch it. This is a much later version, or this could be the same time period as this. You gotta understand. If I dress like this in the summer, I'm gonna dress like this because it's cold, right? Because people want to make it look like this is an Indian and he must be from Europe because he got a suit, a clothes with a tie. No, that's your illusion. Look at this right here. It's from Harlem. You see at the bottom right there. Harlem Restaurant. Leiden. Okay? De Moor. This ain't even your tobacco. I'm gonna show you when you get your tobacco. When you start working for, you ain't working for your uncle tobacco farm no more. You wanna work for Mr. John from Europe tobacco farm now. Later. You see? The Rookende Mooren, the smoking Moors, and the Rookende Moor, the smoking Moor. You see? The Rookende Moor, and they put this one on the elephant to represent the Carthage. They know you was Moors aware. You know you was Moor. Think about it. If you the one who's selling to the tobacco, most likely you selling tobacco to people who speak that way, but look like you at this time. Even they ain't gonna, they all know who it is. They ain't gonna let you put the wrong word on the advertisement, which we gonna see later when you don't own it. The American. So you got your name as the American. Still looking as if it's yours. You see, the king holding the scepter, and the worker. Now, they still using you as an advertisement, but they probably not take over your Virginia tobacco farm. Or you still on it, but now you blackjack. Because times change, you know. Noble John, they say you lost your nationality and became black. Negroes. You see who running the plantation now, right? The Virginia planter. No longer the Rookende Moor, but you still work the farms. The handlers. You see? And this look like a turban, the feather in the back. And look at this, the wild man. We like to call you wild Indian too, right? Times changing. I got tons of these though. And most of them, and most oldest got this. Rookende Moor. Morian, the German advertisements. Okay, it's about to be the last one. This article is an article that talk about the vanished American because he realized a lot of these tobacco advertisements and figurines been called Moor instead of Indian, right? So he want to know, okay, so these Indians, dark skin, who was called Moor, he can look around, don't see that. All he sees black people who came from the slave ship in these times. So he wrote an article called The Vanished American. He don't know what happened to them because we don't dress like this and we don't look like this in his eyes. Even though we still around him, one of the people inside the building where he did the article at probably is the Vanished American. But the way history and education set out, he made him write this article. This is in a museum in, I believe, Philadelphia, but it's labeled a Moor. by the caption of the people in the library. The museum. I can't remember if it was from the craft maker or from the people from the museum who captioned it, but they didn't caption it Indian, they captioned it Elmore. And these are some faces long lost. That's why it was interesting too how they Jim Hercules said to be Abyssinian, Alabamian, Ethiopian, or West Indian, depending on the source. So you got many sources of this guy. I don't know where he's from, but they believe he's been a guard, footman, or servant. As they always say, by look of these medals. Okay. And I circle Alabamian for a reason because that's the least one people will pick. But that's the most one I'll pick because we don't remember being Moorish Americans. But Noble Drawley came and let us know he looked like an Alabamian to me. And he could be. But we sell ourselves short. And that's all I want to show.